Okay, I think I can take down the melancholy or the melodramatic music as we get started with this presentation. Special update on what's happening in the tropics. Of course, we are talking about Hurricane Laura. Woke up this morning expecting this storm to have strengthened, but I was honestly taken back by just how much it strengthened overnight. Last night we were reporting on the storm, Category 1 at the time. Sustained winds last night of about 90 miles per hour. It has increased so much since last night. In a span of about 12 to 18 hours, the pressure dropped some 25 millibar. Right now, this is a very, very dangerous Category 4 hurricane, and one that it's unfortunate that it's intensifying as quickly as it is, because it's going to make landfall tonight. There's not much time, and it is going to come on shore as a very, very dangerous storm. So during this update, we are multi-streaming this particular program to both YouTube and Facebook. If you're on YouTube, great. Thanks for being here. If you don't ordinarily follow me on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscription button. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to give you the skinny on the storm. We're going to give you what we know now, the latest satellite information, latest radar information. The National Hurricane Center just came in with their 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central update. I've got the latest information with that. It's during this update that it has been increased to a Category 4 hurricane. For those that don't know, that's a rarity. That is the type of storm that quite honestly you don't want to see make landfall, and it's actually pretty rare. We've only had a handful of storms as strong as this one make landfall in the U.S. in the last 10 to 20 years. You have to go back to, I believe, Hurricane Michael from a few seasons ago. Last time we've had one that was this strong. So give me a moment while I get set up here, but we're going to bring you again live radar source, live radar information, the latest information coming in from the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, concerning this storm and the threats that it poses. And it does pose a lot of threats. The eye is now visible on our radar. I'll be sharing that with you in just a couple of moments. A quick roll call, see who's on here. I'm going to start off with our friends over on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for being here. Is it Surrepperturus? Thank you for being here. A couple of very close friends and their newborn live in Houston. Going to get in touch with them now. Looks like Houston will be on the western flank of the storm. We've got one of our moderators on here, Jacob Gooding. Thank you for being here. Glad you can make the stream as well. King Isaac, Ghost King, Chris Chamberlain, and again, guys, just getting started with this update. So thank you very much for being here. We're also live on Facebook. Right now we have a crowd of about 160 people. My Facebook friends, if you don't mind a quick like or share of the program on this Wednesday afternoon. Not everybody aware perhaps of the danger of the threat that's looming across the tropics right now, but the Gulf of Mexico is being overwhelmed by a storm that again, we saw earmarks that this could become a dangerous storm days ago, and we started talking about it last week. Marco quickly fizzled out a couple days ago. That went as planned. This did just the opposite. Instead of fizzling out, it rapidly intensified. Take a look at this enhanced infrared satellite imagery. This is the very latest on this storm, and that is just such a well-defined storm. The eye, very centrally located. If you remember last night, the eye hadn't even formed yet. And I had a few people ask me, do you think this is going to interfere with its development? And absolutely no. We had so much convection around the middle, it just hadn't gained the level of organization that obviously it does right now. This is the enhanced infrared satellite imagery. And we can see a number of things. First of all, that we have a very centrally located eye right in the middle of all of the convection. You can see that it wraps all the way around the storm, this giant donut of reds and dark reds and almost blacks. That's where, again, that's intense thunderstorm convection. This is a sign of a very, very healthy storm. Now, let's take off the colors. This is what you would see with the naked eye. If you were looking at the storm from up above, looking down towards the earth, this is what you would see. It's daylight, so we have a very good visual of what's going on. And I wish I had a tighter zoom. I can't do it here, but if you look very closely into the middle of this eye, not only is the eye extremely well defined, but in the middle of the eye you get these little swirls, little eddies. These are called mesovortices, and they are symptomatic of only the strongest of hurricanes. The waters are warm. I don't see much, if any, reason why this storm will weaken before landfall, which is of course part of the problem. We're not expecting it to weaken before landfall. Latest information coming in from the National Hurricane Center, showing you the 1 p.m. central location. That's 2 p.m. just a few minutes ago, where it was located at. And let me read that to you. This information, again, National Hurricane Center, their latest advisory as of just like 20 minutes ago. They're saying this: Air Force reconnaissance. The Air Force Hunter aircraft reports Laura has become an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane. Catastrophic storm surge expected. Extreme winds and flash flooding expected along the northwest Gulf Coast tonight. Little time remains to protect life and property. We do hope these guys have been acting. The storm is only located about 200 miles to the south-southeast of both Port Arthur, Texas, and Lake Charles, Louisiana. Both of those cities are going to be near the center of where this thing makes landfall. Sustained winds right now of 140 miles per hour. 140 miles per hour with this thing. That's where it's at. Gust higher. It's moving to the northwest at about 16 miles per hour. Pressure is down to 952 millibar. This is a just no time. No time. If you've got any friends, any relatives that are anywhere near there, you need to reach out. Make sure they're moving and make sure they're doing the right thing. Now, while the rain and the wind is going to be a big deal, This is a look at rainfall projections. And right there along the Texas and Louisiana border, you're looking at locally 10 inches or more of rain. That's a big deal, but it's not the game changer that the storm surge will be. Storm surge is the most dangerous facet with this storm. Yes, 140 mile per hour straight line wind is going to flatten a lot of things, but it's the pile of water it's going to push when it comes on shore that is the most life-threatening aspect of what Laura is going to bring. And the latest information showing you we've got storm surge expected to flood from Freeport, Texas, all the way out to Gulfport, Mississippi. But really, the worst of it's going to be confined in this area. It's going to be to the certainly to the east of Galveston Bay, but out towards Lake Charles, out towards Port Arthur, where you're 10 to 15 feet storm surge, and even a wall of water of about 15 to 20 feet. That's going to occur on the right eye wall as it's coming ashore later on tonight. Again, not a lot of time with this storm. Tremendously strong right now and still strengthening. Category 4 storm, not good. All right, quick taking a look at just a couple of comments over on our Facebook feed. I've got Penny on here. We've got Brian Samuels. We've got Kathy Flowers. Peggy Priest, Carl Priest, thank you very much. And by the way, we know that your servicemen were here this morning. That's Kathy, or make that Carl and Peggy Priest of Northern Comfort Heating and Cooling, one of our sponsors. We appreciate you guys very, very much. So there's Bonnie and Brian and Patrick and Fran praying for all the poor souls in Laura's path. That's on Facebook. We are multi-streaming on our YouTube channel right now. Jacob Goody on here talking about King. Unless you're an experienced chaser, I would advise against it. Yeah, you know, you don't, unless you had experience chasing hurricanes, you don't want to get in the middle of one like this. Yeah, a category 1 or even a category 2 storm is very chaseable, even for people that don't have a lot of experience. This level of hurricane, you just want to avoid. Everybody needs to avoid. That's what we're talking about. If you're on the YouTube, please, if you don't mind, a quick like of the video, share of the video. It's very much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, which we fired back up yesterday because of this hurricane, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, as we'll have more updates here in time. In fact, I'm already planning the next update later on this afternoon with the 5 o'clock update that will be coming in from the National Hurricane Center. That's 5 o'clock Eastern time. This one won't be terribly long, but I am going to take you through some model runs. Again, this is what the storm looks like right now according to satellite perspective. Here's a look at the water vapor. Somebody yesterday was questioning whether this thing was going to drag in some dry air and potentially kill it. Not a chance. Not a chance. Water vapor, and anywhere you've got the green, that is basically a column of air that is completely saturated. This hurricane is going to push all the dry air out, and that's not going to be an issue as far as the development of the storm. That's low level water vapor. Here's upper level. Again, a very organized storm. I was looking at the sea surface temperatures between 85 and 88 degrees between where that eye is in the coast of Louisiana and Texas. Here's the enhanced infrared, and you can see where you've got that bubbling of the colors around the center of that eye, where you've got convection that continues to develop. Very concentric. It's very symmetric, again, which is also a sign that not only is it organized, but it's still strengthening. All right, with that, let's take a look at some of the models I've got for you. We're going to start you over here with the I believe I've got the H-WRF ready to load. Storm surge, catastrophic at times. I think this will be the worst problem with this storm. Let's start you with the WRF. This is the H-WRF, high resolution hurricane model, showing you where the storm is now. It drops the pressure to about 940 and then fills it in just slightly as it's making landfall. So basically it would be about 10 millibars stronger than it is right now. And of course that would come with some terrific winds with it as well. So while I'm showing you this, I'm also loading in the European model. I'll have that for you in just a couple of moments. European updating right now, so this is a good time to take a look at that. And then we'll also take a look at the American models briefly. The NAM, which is a hybrid of the WRF, we'll have that for you coming up in just a couple of moments. So I'm loading into the state of Louisiana, and we've got the European that is up, 12Z running, and let's go ahead and take a look at this, see what the model says. So I'm going to take you back over to our other computer. Here you go. Looking at the European model, and you can see it drops the pressure to 935 by 7 o'clock this evening, 932 by 11 o'clock, make that 10, and then it fills it in just slightly. It brings it all the way down to 932. That would be close to a Cat 5. Again, I sure hope that that's not what we end up seeing here, but that would be devastating. And some of the cities, that's Port Arthur, Texas, Beaumont's going to get a blow from this. Lake Charles, Louisiana, you're going to get a hard hit out of the storm. Those coastal sections are going to get it. They're going to just get obliterated. Let's take a look at some of the wind gusts here. Potential according to the NAM. I hate to see this. I just hate it. This is reminiscent. It's reminiscent, honestly, of Michael. Hopefully not quite that extreme, but it is. It's bad. We know what Michael did. These are estimated wind gusts via the model. This is the European forecast model just coming in now. Shows that wind. Look how incredible that wall of wind gust of 130 to 140 miles per hour as it's making landfall. And look at that. That one peak. God, 186 miles per hour is what it's showing for a peak gust. There's one at 193. This again would be absolutely devastating. This is not what we want to see. I want to, and I have not looked at the NAM, the new NAM which is in, and the HRRR, which I want to share with you also. So here's this is the NAM, and it shows it very intense just a little bit further west. It doesn't show the pressure quite as low, but it's still low. What is that pressure at? It's hard for me to read it. So, oh, actually it does. It takes it down to, oh, that takes it down to about 919. That would be a Cat 5. So this is the NAM, just a little bit further west than what the European model was showing you. I'm going to go back over to European. Okay, NAM is actually, as far as pressure is concerned, it's lower. It's further west. Now here's a look at the let's go on to the 3K HRRR and see if we got this rendered out far enough. I'm gonna have to go back to the previous model run 16Z. Let's see what the HRRR is doing with this. This is a model that updates hourly. It does not perform as well with these type of storms. Location similar to the NAM, not nearly as strong, but again, I would rely more on the NAM and also the European when it comes to potential strength of the storm. So what we're dealing with is, it's a beast. It is an absolutely horrific looking hurricane, and one that I'm sure is going to take many lives. All we can do is try to get the word out, get people out of harm's way, because there's going to be, I mean, again, stronger than anticipated, as strong a storm as we have seen in a few years. I think there's one saving grace in that this is not a terribly there's not a huge population center here, but there are many people that are going to be impacted by the storm. I'm going to bring up a map of that area and just good old Google Maps here, and then I'm going to also have radar update for you as well. Let me see, I've got it on Analyst Radar right now, so let's see what it looks like. Okay, so this is Analyst Radar, where you can see the outer bands, and there are chasers that are down there reporting this stuff. And I had some warnings with them, the outer bands, but you can see the buzzsaw. That is the center of that hurricane. Okay, it's offshore a good distance, but you can see it barreling on. You can see some of the communities where we're looking at the worst of this to occur. There's Lake Charles, there's Beaumont, Port Arthur is right here. But again, the main storm still a ways offshore. It's moving though, steady. Northwest at 17 miles per hour. There's not a lot of time. So if mandatory evacuations have been ordered for much of the area. We've got hurricane warnings that are in effect for much of the area. And this is going to it'll be too late to act in just a matter of hours. So that's what we are really hoping and praying that people are taking those actions now, and they're taking them very seriously. I've got my other radar loading as we continue to look at the images that are coming in. Again, this was the wharf from just a little while earlier. This seems to be a pretty realistic solution of where it makes landfall at. Located across far southwestern Louisiana. What is the name of that? So it's Port Arthur, which would be right there on the Louisiana-Texas border, and Lake Charles. Those two communities are going to get the worst of this. Lake Charles, Louisiana, I believe home to about 78,000 people. That's a lot of people. And they're going to see some terrific winds in that area. So we pray for the best. But again, we have to get the word out. So we're going to rely on you guys to help do that. All right, talking to my YouTube friends, thank you for being on here. We're kickstarting this channel again, thanks to the hurricane. Started yesterday. We'll have more updates later today. Cortex Zero, it just seems like each day they forecast it to be another category stronger, and I'm just going by the pattern. It seems like it's really possible, and that the water is like a bathtub. You talk about the possibility of it becoming a Cat 5. I think you can't take that off the table right now. Well, I just showed you some models that support that idea. Typically, if anything, all else being equal, once these hurricanes begin to interact with land, typically they begin to weaken. But this one's moving fast enough. It may not have time. You may see the worst of the winds upon landfall. And Cat 5, it's not out of the question. We've got about 140 people live on Facebook. Thank you for being here. If you don't mind a quick like and share the program, as always, it's appreciated. Pat Shirkon here. I've got Scott Clovis. Scott, you're asking for impacts. We're not going to cover anything beyond landfall and immediately after landfall during this. I will show you the track. And again, the storm after landfall is expected to curve north and then northeast. So we'll bring back up the National Hurricane Center's track. I mean, really, impacts are going to be from now until 24 hours from now. That's where the main impacts are going to be. You can see where it's expected to move to lower Mississippi, central Mississippi River Valley, and then curving back into the Ohio River Valley, where it's going to bring rain. It's going to bring some stronger thunderstorms. But again, vast majority of the impact with this storm will occur tonight. When it's making landfall, it's when pardon my French, but that's all hell's going to break loose. Down there on the Texas, Louisiana border, again, where you have those active warnings. It's going to be, it's not going to be good. Some bad stuff happening down there with this storm. Let me see if I can get an update over, and I cannot. My other system is not going to allow me to pull in the tropic information, which is too bad. It's too bad. I'm going to talk to my tech guys about that, but that's all right. I'll show you again. You've seen the track. I've shown you the models. We'll take one more look at the radar. So this is Analyst Radar across that part of Louisiana where you're seeing the outer bands. Lake Charles, you're seeing heavy rain now. It's very good. Here's what is the town of Cameron. This may be epicenter. Cameron to Creole to Holly Beach, out towards Sabine Pass, and Port Arthur. That's where I think it's going to come on shore later. You can see the eye. This is radar. Radar's different. Radar is underneath the cloud. He has to wait till it gets close enough to the radar source to actually see it. Now we're seeing it. So this is what it looks like underneath it. One final check of what it looks like above. And we'll take you on over to our enhanced infrared satellite imagery showing you this nasty, nasty storm blowing up over the Gulf of Mexico as it's rapidly approaching Texas and Louisiana. That's the enhanced infrared satellite. And this is what it would look like with the naked eye. Atmospheric conditions are ripe for this thing to continue. This is a look at jet stream winds. And around this thing, you will find a lack of strong winds, which is actually good. That's high pressure. Well, good for the maintaining the strength of the hurricane, bad for the rest of us. So you got lighter winds, unlike what was encountered by Marco, where it had some stronger westerlies that just ripped the storm apart. You don't have that here. You have pretty favorable conditions in the upper levels for this thing to continue to maintain strength, if not strengthen a bit more before making landfall. There's 250 winds, 500 winds, 700 winds, and 850 winds. Let's take a look at surface winds. There you go, close to surface winds. Quite remarkable. Get in there a little bit tighter. This is what's happening right now. You can see tropical storm force winds likely still offshore, but they're not going to be too far away from making their way onshore. Again, you're watching coverage of what's going to turn out to be likely a historic hurricane landfall tonight. I would imagine this is going to prompt federal disaster aid. I would imagine a trip from the president himself to visit this area once the storm is passed. They're going to need our help, so pray for them. Reach out to them while we've still got some hours. They can do some things. They've got to get out of the way, though. It begins to make landfall again late this evening. So late this evening, we're talking about sometime, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, it begins to come on shore, makes landfall, I believe, around midnight. Let me go back over to my forecast model. I'm going to bring up the European was what I was looking at earlier with the timing. And so the European forecast model brings this thing on shore at about midnight tonight, right around midnight. So you'll get the approach. Conditions will really deteriorate, say 7, 8, 9 o'clock. By 10, 11 o'clock, it's terrible. By midnight, it's at the worst. And that is, again, for the immediate areas along the coast. Final look at that forecast track. Again, this is the European model. I was showing you the wind. I hope this is an overestimate. If it's not, we're in real trouble. These are wind gusts, not sustained. These are gusts. And you can see, so this is 11 o'clock at night. This is midnight. Midnight. Look at that one little peak there of 180, 190 miles per hour. That's 1 a.m. And right there, extreme southwest Louisiana may get the brunt of this storm. Far southeast Texas also going to get a bad hit. But it's anywhere along the eastern side of this storm where you're going to have that wall of water. And I don't have a tool to show you a simulation. I'll probably have one for the later show. I don't have it at my disposal here. But it's understand what's happening in this image. is that you're getting this circulation around the storm that's counterclockwise in nature. So it goes this way. Okay? So as you get this counterclockwise circulation, it's the right side of the storm that we are seeing those tremendous, just terrific winds that are going to push the water on shore. And as it's being pushed, that pile of water, that's where I think we're going to have the worst of the devastation, the worst of the damage. A catastrophic storm surge appears to be likely with this storm. There's a look at the track, and again, just hours to react at this point. And there's a look at all the areas that are expected to have storm surge flooding, with maybe the worst of the storm surge flooding located very close to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Port Arthur to Lake Charles and out towards Vermilion Bay are looking at 8 to 12 and even 15 to 20 foot storm surge very close to Port Charles. Again, make that Lake Charles, Louisiana. Bad situation developing. We'll continue to monitor the situation. A final check of the chat. Thank you for being here. YouTube, thank you. If you don't mind a thumbs up, a share, and if you don't already follow me on this channel, subscribe. Please do. We'll come back with more updates on not just this storm, but any major storm, including hurricanes, blizzards, winter storms, severe weather, and tornadoes. That's kind of what our focus is. Thank you, Jacob Gooding, for being on here, and also for moderating and adding some information. He said he just saw the National Weather Service at Lake Charles has evacuated their office and passed on forecasting duties to Brownsville, Texas. I think that's a really good idea. They've got to get them out of here. No problem. Is it Surreptitious? You bet. Thank you for being here. Yeah, everybody's going to be safe. All right, so there you go. Well, final thanks to our friends over on Facebook as well. Appreciate you guys. Kevin, Kathy, Michael. Will the nighttime affect it in any way? No, Michael. Only that it makes it that much more difficult to see flying debris and rising waters. That's all. Williams, usually I'm following strong hurricanes, but haven't heard much of this storm, probably due to what's going on around the country. And William, I'm afraid there are probably a lot of people that have tuned out or are unaware, because this strengthened so fast, and now it's about to make landfall, and people are tuned out for a variety of reasons. So it's up to all of us that are here right now to reach out to those that are in harm's way. I'll be back with another update late this afternoon. And then we'll have more information for you this evening. But thank you very much for being here. I'll be back again tonight. In the meantime, you guys stay tuned and stay safe. We'll talk to you again soon, my friends. Bye.